Mallorca, a peaceful island in the Mediterranean in the middle of the 60s. Things are laid back here. The rural population lives a humble but happy life, free from the hectic pace on the mainland. But seeing as how flying is turning into a mass-market business, that could change rapidly. There's not a lot on this sleepy island. Apart from sun, sea, and sand. There's plenty of that. You're a smart cookie. You've noticed. The location is perfectly suited as a destination for vacations. Like pilgrims, people from all over Europe will travel here to escape their day-to-day lives. Grab your opportunity and create a tourist paradise. Soon you'll be making money hand over fist. The latest technological advancements are going to turn flying into a mass-market business. Ready for a vacation, the pale middle class from Central Europe yearns for some time off in a Mediterranean climate. Use attractive offers to lure them to Mallorca. Above all, the Germans, along with people from Austria and Switzerland, let themselves be tempted by appealing all-inclusive vacation package offers. The island of Mallorca needs a functioning airport if the tourism business is supposed to get cranked up and going. Provide the necessary infrastructure. The guests from Austria gaze enviously towards Palma, where the Germans throw rip-roaring beach parties. So far, nothing like that has happened where they spend their vacations, but change is in the making. Organize the kind of blast like the island has never seen. The beach is pretty, but kind of small. Make it bigger so that there's room for more bathing beauties and party animals. Very nice. The beach is big enough. All that's missing are the people. The Austrian element is still a bit shy and uptight. Get a couple of uninhibited Germans from Parma over here who'll get things going. Travel organization is cleared for takeoff. Offer direct flights from flight destinations where your targeted clientele comes from, so that vacationers soon arrive in droves. Your business idea works. Hordes of people want to spend their vacation on the island. Whether men or women, the tourists have very different priorities, depending on the country they come from. Provide for maximum vacation enjoyment by satisfying their very specific needs. Make sure that the island does justice to the preferences shown by all travelers.
Northwest departure is approved to Ontario. And your northwest departure is approved to Ontario. And your northwest departure is approved to Ontario. Northwest departure is approved to Ontario.
The guests drift in. The mood is on the rise. Several very selective gentlemen have said they're coming too. They're eager to retire to the privacy of a lovely finca to chill out. Make sure that they feel really good there. If they have their way, people from Austria on vacation do the same thing they do at home. They go hiking. Place signposts so that slightly confused hikers don't just wander aimlessly across the landscape. Germans like it when everything is above board and clean, although they're the ones who leave behind the biggest mountains of trash. See to it that they're not bothered too much by their own garbage and clean up the beaches from time to time. People from Switzerland like to have things cultivated, cool, and shady. In other words, as boring as possible, which matches their temperament. A well-thought-out vegetation concept will increase their sense of well-being. Thanks to your efforts, Mallorca is becoming more and more popular as a holiday destination. But even so, the transportation infrastructure leaves a lot to be desired. Anyone who is ripe for being on an island doesn't want to wear themselves out there with unnecessary long walks. Provide an appropriate variety of transportation options so that vacationers feel good from head to toe. Both the fuel supply and the transportation infrastructure have to be clearly improved. The tourism boom has its downsides too. It poses a threat to the island's wildlife. But it's precisely this diversity of fauna that attracts guests from Switzerland with money in their pockets. Take measures so that the populations of endangered species don't shrink any further, and the Swiss clientele keeps coming in the future too, and leaves its money here. Increased shipping puts a lot of pressure on all kinds of marine animals all around the island. You ought to counteract this by establishing protected areas where shipping is kept to a minimum. Both the fuel supply and the transportation infrastructure have to be clearly improved so that everything runs smoothly. The island has a remarkable variety of avifauna, birds. See to it that the increasing air traffic doesn't inconvenience them too much. The development of the transportation infrastructure leaves its mark, in the form of lizards run over on the roads. Make sure that the reptiles can cross the road as safely as possible, at least in the area where they breed. Thanks to your efforts, the island fauna is recovering splendidly, and the enthusiastic, nature-loving travelers from Switzerland keep on stuffing your cash registers. this a party or what? The island has never seen a huge wingding like this. Due to your tireless work, progress is finally gaining a foothold on the island. People ready for a vacation are arriving in ever-increasing numbers. For quite some time now, the down-to-earth guest houses and nifty fincas haven't been enough to house all the guests. Modern accommodations for the masses are called for. Experience shows that even when abroad, people prefer to spend most of their time among their countrymen. That's why a variety of hotel complexes ought to be built, specially aligned to meet the very specific needs of the respective guests. Neat and clean. Germans ought to feel right at home on vacation too, which is why the hotel furnishings must be made of plastic. Then they can be easily wiped. People from Austria are said to have destructive tendencies every now and then. Whether that's true or not, it's worth building particularly solid steel structures so that you're steeled against possible attacks. Travelers from Switzerland expect everything to run as precisely as clockwork from the canton of Jura. Special tools are needed to make sure that's the case. large number of well-furnished accommodations make Mallorca an El Dorado for people hungry for sunshine from all over Europe. Make sure that no wishes are left to be desired and your cash registers are filled to the brim. Meet the needs of your guests from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. They have very different preferences. Everyone says the Germans are very demanding guests, but it doesn't take much to make them happy. They like Autobahns and Schnapps, hard liquor. The island of Mallorca has an assemblage of several cultural landmarks of historical value. The Germans like to take a look at them now and then before they head for the beach. But sadly, the structures are exposed to the emissions from increased traffic and visibly deteriorating as a result. Do something. If the pollution level stays the same, continuous maintenance is the only way to prevent the ongoing decay of the masonry. And that costs plenty. The only alternative is to reduce emissions. Less noise, grime and vibration also mean less damage to a building's fabric. If you succeed in reducing emissions, it equally reduces the damage to the old walls. Wherever they are, Mr. and Mrs. Swiss folk like it best when things are just like home, as quiet and clean as possible. When abroad, they enjoy running errands. The Swiss name for it is shopping. People from Austria are used to good public transportation options, and breaded schnitzel cutlets too. Thanks to your timely intervention, the long-term preservation of the historic buildings is ensured. The Germans are busy taking photos. Mallorca, a peaceful island in the Mediterranean in the middle of the 60s. Things are laid back here. The rural population lives a humble but happy life, free from the hectic pace on the mainland. But seeing as how flying is turning into a mass-market business, that could change rapidly.